All right, let's get our Leaf Hour edition of the Real Kyper on Bourne show going. Nick
Lots to
Kypreos,
say.
Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and Jake Schultz.
I took out the snake.
I know you took out the snake. Why did you take out the snake?
I think he's been really good on our show recently, and I think he deserves a little bit more of a professional approach. And I spelled his name right correctly. I went to his I went to his Twitter account today. I got his name right.
Did you spend an extra hour on this today?
No.
Jake's
20
sophisticated
minutes?
Schultz today.
No, I spent
15?
I spend the normal amount of time. You know, I wake up, I have a leisurely coffee, and I start working on it.
All right.
I'm working in the morning.
Okay.
And then I come in here and I look at you two.
What a professional day.
We got a jam-packed Leaf Hour edition to explain what the heck happened last night. But we're glad you're with us live on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus. Anthony Stolarz. If I told you that he stole a game, that doesn't do it justice, does it,
No.
Justin?
Burglary. I don't know. Yeah, it's that's one hell of a performance, man. I mean, been covering the Leafs closely for a lot of years here at Sportsnet and before that. I just can't remember a goalie that feels as tough to beat, that's playing as well as Stolarz right now. Last night was the cherry on top for he's now first in the NHL in save percentage among guys that have played 10 games.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of good ones this year, but last night was, I mean, like you said, since we've been doing this show, it's either 1 or 1B of any of the performances I can ever remember watching a Leaf goaltender have.
Yeah.
And how much are they paying him? $2.5 million? Like, I think they've already got their money's worth.
Yeah, if he never plays
If
again.
he stopped playing tomorrow, which I hope he doesn't, their contract was worth it. They got 9 wins out of him already.
So we're at
battles.
December 11th.
Yeah.
We've got another week and a half to go, 2 weeks to Christmas. Can you recall any game where you're like, that's a bad goal, or he looks out of position? Like, I can't even recall seeing him really lose his post, which is a really hard thing to say.
Yeah.
For a goalie that's gone this deep into a regular season.
It's incredible. No, you're right. There's not like a game where you're like, well, he gave up 6 that one night or whatever. It's like it just hasn't happened.
I hate to do this to my boy Anthony, but he wasn't great in the Florida game. There was like 2 goals in that one that you would want, like, and you can remember them. It was Barkov on the power play where it was a one-timer, could have had it, and the one was Verhaeghe off the half boards and went upstairs.
I think that one got a little bit redirected tad. But
I'm sitting here being able to be like, there's 2 bad ones I remember.
Okay.
If you told me to list goalies past ones to remember, we'd be here for the entire Leaf Hour listing them off.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair.
So there you go.
Not a great performance for him in Florida.
Yeah, but who cares?
But
he's been unbelievable.
It's been something to see.
It really has been. And, you know, we can get into the overview of the game maybe with the coaches before we get into our own thoughts, or do you want to give our own sort of...
Let Craig Berube kind of tee up what we witnessed last night with his overview.
Start with clip 1.
Our goalie kept us in it, so it was only 1-0. For sure, that's a big part of it. I mean, you know, third period we started to play better and more aggressive and controlled the play a little bit more. First 2 periods, I mean, they had the puck. We didn't get it from them.
And we didn't get it from him.
Yeah. It's like playing keep away with someone who's really like Datsuk or someone. You just can't get it from. They just had it the whole night.
I can't, like, as talking about as remembering as good a goalie performance as I can remember, that first period in 3 quarters, because I thought they started to clean up towards the end of the second period a little bit, that's as bad as I can remember the Leafs looking in a really long time.
But
like even in the Columbus game, you know, they had some chances here and there this year. Like, that was awful.
Do you think that is a symptom of like, okay, that's really what the Leafs are? This is a problem. We need to worry about this. Or do you think it was just like the Devils played really well, they didn't quite have it?
Great question.
So where did the start, the 40-minute start?
Yeah, it's a long start. Yeah. It's like if we called from now till 5:30, the start of our show.
Yeah. Listen, and in honor of Sheldon, they took a long time to start. Let's just say that.
Where for you over that 40 minutes did the biggest problem stem from for you?
Well, the biggest problem is that they just can't create anything going the other way. Like, it's just, if you look at the amount of opportunities that happen at their net and the other net, there's no ozone time, no sustained pressure, no chances created. They just are stagnant in the offensive zone. They don't make plays.
Yeah.
I know we've often referred to New Jersey as the fastest team.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't, go watch the game last night, because they're the kings of the castle in speed. That's the one thing that I kept looking at. So from your perspective of not watching a sustained forecheck, it just stems to me that the Leafs were too slow and New Jersey was too fast. So was that just no one had their legs? Or is that something that the Leafs can sit there and say, okay, we just played the fastest team in the league, but do we have an issue with being a little slower than some other clubs? And I watched it last night, and like, for me, Tavares had a lot of trouble. And I don't want to pick on John Tavares, but
I've liked him lately. I agree with you last night.
But last
that
night,
turnover deserves picking.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the speed to keep up with the New Jersey Devils for me. But nobody else did. So is it they do need to get a little faster? When we talk about Pacioretty, we talk about Tavares, we talk about, outside of Nylander, like, is speed a bit of an issue last night that kind of came to fruition? Or no, you're okay?
No. I think it's a fair observation that one of the reasons they couldn't get the hockey puck is they're not as fast as New Jersey. But I don't think you have to be the fastest team in the league. Florida certainly hasn't been when they won their cup. I don't think Mark Stone's Golden Knights were the fastest team. So I don't think it's a crisis to say that they're not as fast as New Jersey. And certainly that was a symptom of, you saw that play out a little bit last night. But I just think the length of time they've got here without creating offense is worrisome. But I wrote an article today where I said the good news is their goaltending and defense has been so good that they've got time to sort that out. I don't think they're a bad offensive team. I think, Matthews starting to come back. I thought he was great last night. He's finding it a bit. They're Pacioretty and Domi can come back and find their stride. I think this is a good offensive team, or at least not a below average one, which statistically they are. So I do think they're going to get there, and I think they have time to add or do whatever they need to do to add more offense to it. But they're okay.
Over this era of Leafs hockey, we've often had this conversation about the speed of them, and that they've never really been a fast team. I guess since they had the Kapanens and Janssens in the bottom half of the lineup.
Yeah.
They've never, ever really prioritized speed. Even Dubas. Think of the guys he brought in, the veteran guys that he brought in over that time. They were never fast. It was never
Dubas would say when I was there that if he could pick the smartest team, the most skilled team, or the fastest team, he'd take the smartest team every time.
Yeah.
So I think that reflected his choices sometimes in personnel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to another clip from Craig Berube on why the bad start.
I don't know. That's a good question. I wish I knew. I mean, it happens. 82 games, you're going to have flat nights. It was one of them for sure. But, a lot of shots by them. But, I thought we defended the interior pretty well overall. And our goalie made saves. We needed him to. And third period was better. We went to work and started to do some things and control the play a little bit more. But, it's one of those games. I mean, I'm not really going to read into it too much. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Our goalie was excellent. We found a way to get 2 points. That's all that matters.
my least favorite clip of the game.
The
I
other
like that, eh?
the other aspect of looking faster isn't just skating faster. It's moving the puck.
Quicker
And
decisions.
That's the other thing that stood out for me is how much in sync they were for 40 minutes, New Jersey, just moving the puck between Brad and Hughes and having their D involved. And I've always kind of said this, the one difficult part that I've had watching the Leafs, even over the last few years, is between Tavares and Matthews being really good finishers and liking to be around the net. The Leafs don't move the puck sometimes as well as I'd like them to. And that was just another factor for me last night, is not being able to see them string 2 or 3 passes together.
Yeah.
Habits take time
they're
to break.
lucky Austin Matthews existed last night. They had 7 scoring chances last night, grade A, and he was 5 breakaways.
He had good puck touches.
And the one he set up Marner in the slot with a nice play.
I didn't really like his game other than him finding open ice to go in on breakaways.
Only relevant guy on the team to me. I thought he had the puck. Every opportunity they had was because of something he did, I thought, last night, and otherwise.
Yeah. You okay with his
I thought last
best
night,
game last night?
I thought it was his best game. I thought,
Yeah.
in terms of the defensive engagement, willingness to play the body, like he hammered Siegenthaler in the corner after a play. I thought he looked most like himself. Listen, not many guys were very good for long stretches of that game, but I thought he looked most like himself, just offensively too. Jumping into the play, like he doesn't shoot them in the net like he should have on multiple different occasions, but thought he had the offensive instincts back. I thought he was rolling pretty well. So I thought he was good last night.
Okay, let's get a thought from the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs on the game-winning goal.
Yeah, that felt really good. I couldn't quite seem to find my spot there a couple times, but just tried to stick with it. And I mean, like I said, the game was very ugly on our side for most of the game. So squeak out this one. It's good to be back in the win column, and we just want to continue that momentum and be better the next game.
It's hard to believe a guy that has scored that often in his career could maybe have lost his confidence a little bit. And maybe that was part of the equation here until he got the game winner.
I actually think a point you've made or implied about him is fair. I don't think he's had his cardio up, to the level. Like now, I thought last night he was, I mean, the burst of speed he had in OT is incredible.
So we can sit there and say, okay, I mean, there has to be a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that being off for 9 games or however long he was gone day to day, that the injury may have had something to do with a bit of a, but he looked to me like he worked harder. He just worked harder than he has in the previous.
You mean last night?
Yeah, last night.
Yeah.
He just worked harder.
Yeah. But I think a lot of that comes down to like what Bourne said with conditioning and feeling better, and if you're not feeling tip top, you're like, I got to say some of this to go down the other way. Like I don't have enough juice. I don't have this. So it doesn't look like you're maybe digging as hard. But I think something's maybe not bugging him still, but he's still recovering from something clearly. He's not in perfect shape. So it was an encouraging one to see him shoot it in like that last night.
I did want to add, you didn't like the Berube clip because
you should probably know.
Not knowing why it was
not
bad.
knowing, like, we're going to move on. I'm not going to think about it anymore. It's probably not the thing I want to hear him say when your team has like one of the worst.
Pour over this and figure out what happened.
Yeah. Like, it is one of 80.
Or maybe he does know and he just doesn't want to tell you.
I would say that's
You mean
likely.
he's fibbing to you? Berube? No way.
I think he does know.
My favorite tweet post-game came from JD Bunkus about that was the most Sheldon Keefe way to lose of all time. He says, the perfect Keefe game. Get goalied, bad bounce against, nothing from the power play, no response to physical play, win in the deserve to win-o-meter.
All losses suck.
Exactly how you've seen Sheldon's teams lose here in Toronto in big games where everyone goes, you should have won. You were better. You controlled the play. You just got goalied. And also, Pacioretty flattens Hughes. Nyes flattens Kovacevic. A couple guys are digging at Markstrom.
Okay.
And a bunch of guys in New Jersey went over and said, hey, don't.
That's definitely worth a conversation. But let's just go to Sheldon Keefe first, because Sammy's got a ton of Sheldon Keefe clips that really has saved our show the last 3 years.
I will say, a little shorter after last night.
Oh, was he?
Which one do you like?
Let's do clip 1 first, Eric.
I thought it was great. I thought it was as good a game we've played all season.
Everything's great.
Clip 2, please, Derek.
We just pressured the puck. We worked. I thought we won puck battles consistently. I mean, we lost some on the first goal. Aside from that, I thought we were just outstanding competitively. It's clearly our best first period of the season, like not even close. So, yeah, I leave here feeling pretty good about our team tonight.
So we had him on the show Monday, right?
Correct.
And if I'm not mistaken, mistaken, he told us there's been a good number of games where they've just been out goalied, right?
He
And then there was the comment that he made last night on the Leafs goaltending. Do we have that?
Keefe clip 3, we do.
Coach mentioned this felt like one of the better efforts of the season. What do you think prevented your team from being able to bury more pucks?
Best goaltending in the league on the other side.
Oh, that's not at your goalie, but it's like.
Oh no,
not at
it's that's at your goalie.
the
And can I
other
tell you
side of the
something?
puck, huh?
Like, good on Pontus Holmberg, but that one stunk beyond belief. And
You
if
go
I'm
under
the New
his pad?
Jersey Devils and I'm watching Stolarz do that to us, and then you let them come down one of the few opportunities over the game, and you let that in, that one is a complete ball buster.
It is. You're like, oh, come on. You're like, we're working so hard to get a sniff over there.
It's, when Connor Dewar and Pontus Holmberg break into the offensive zone shorthanded with no possession of the puck, you don't expect it to end up in the back of your net, and it
Sure
did.
shouldn't.
But
Yeah.
they're so right. Like, you talk about the parallels between the Keefe game, and it's crazy because I've watched that game 15 times in the last
And
3
you come
years.
in here and I go, well, they were great. They should have won.
Like, and that goal is one that Peter Mrazek lets in, one that Jack Campbell lets in. There's one that Ilya Samsonov lets
We
in.
don't have enough time in
when-
our show for you to mention all the goalies
And
Puck just
until we
kept
get
going,
to
yeah.
Felix and Cujo and Eddie.
and you watch the game where, like, the deservometer is all off the charts, and the shot quality, like, they had some good shots for sure, but, like, you can talk about the volume of shots and all this stuff. I've watched that exact game from the other side 20 times in the last 5
It's
years.
getting redundant.
So
I
was
bring the Keefe drops back.
yeah, it was it was kind of therapeutic to be on the other side of it, quite honestly. And I can't imagine the group chat that doesn't have Jacob Markstrom in it today talking about that goal.
The team minus Markstrom.
No,
chat.
like, the Hughes Hughes guys probably have a group chat with a couple guys. Like, I guarantee there's one of the group chats that doesn't have Markstrom in it, and they're talking about that goal.
Why don't we listen to Berube's clip 3 on Pontus's goal?
Yeah, it was a great goal. It was obviously a big goal for us. We got more chances shorthanded than we did 5-on-5 tonight, and power play, I think. So, I mean, our shorthanded chances were good. I thought we created some opportunities there. It's a big goal, obviously, and our penalty kill was a big part of the win tonight too with our goalie.
I mean, yeah. PK had a ton of chances. Both penalty kills gave up chances, or both power plays gave up chances.
Well, Austin comes back, and then the power play stinks again.
Yeah.
Okay, explain that to me.
I don't know.
Can't. And
But they need to figure that out.
yeah, like, they were absurdly hot for a 7-game stretch. And they even got a couple once Matthews came back. But it's gone pretty sour here again for I don't know what the actual numbers would be, but it's gone pretty sour.
I said to you guys last night in our group chat that, like, this is how the 5-forward power play dies. Like a night where it looks like last night. I don't want it to.
Yeah, it's just, do they just focus on getting 34 the puck again?
But do you see that? Like, I'm looking for that
I
because
saw
they're not
another
scoring.
beaver tap, by the way, from Austin last night.
I can't see them. They don't gain the zone.
He wants the puck. He wants the puck. For the second time in a short period of time, I see him banging his stick,
I just can't
wanting
believe
the puck.
But why wouldn't you want him to have the puck?
Right.
Because you tell everybody he wants the puck, and then they make the adjustments to him having the puck.
Yeah, I know. But, like, I don't think I just I don't know what to say here.
You know what the kind of pressure a beaver tap does to the guys on the ice?
Do you remember the scenario where the beaver tap came? After it was a low puck battle, he was at the goal line, down by the top of the crease in a battle. It wasn't like he was, like, on the side killing the power play, saying don't pass it over there. So that's not really reflective.
It wasn't Danny Heatley in 04.
I don't know if they feel differently when he's in the lineup to get him the puck.
They do.
Certainly they do. I don't know
just
that it's.
Stop it then. All of you guys, just stop it. Just
I
disguise
came in
it
here
more.
and said, put him on the second unit, and I got treated like a pariah for the next 10 times we talk power play. I think it's great for them to put ego aside and find a way.
Marner's a little guilty too. I don't know, one 2-on-1. The second one worked. The first one he tried to slide it through.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, disguise it better or look like it's not automatically going to him. I mean, I cannot.
Or shoot it.
I cannot put my finger on why it becomes different when he's in the lineup.
Because they want, and it's definitely true. I can't sit here and say it's not, but they want him to have the puck. And this to me is how the problem with Marner and Matthews together. Because, I mean, you talk about Tavares last night and didn't think he was very good. Nylander last night, didn't think he was very good. And it's like you put those two guys together who we've talked about never having any chemistry, and you just lose the rest of the team. It's like Marner and Matthews together, very good, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But then you put those two guys together and the rest of the team looks way worse. So that is the argument against it.
Yeah.
And what you see last night, them forcing him pucks, that's kind of the argument against it.
But I mean, we're sitting here and, you're borderline hostile about the Matthews on the power play thing. I'm
not hostile. I'm just wondering, what do you see?
I'm just saying, I sort the power play in the NHL for the past 6 years, 5 years, 4 years. They're the third best team in the league, 26% on the power play. They're very, very good. And he's been on it the whole time. So what's going on this year? I don't know exactly, but I don't think it's they don't need Austin Matthews or they can't be good with Austin Matthews.
I'm not saying get rid of him.
Right.
I'm saying figure it out, guys.
Yeah, it's a major issue for sure. Like if they were during the 9 games he was out, I mean, I feel like they scored 2 a game.
Yeah. And you're not paying him $13.25 to take a second unit. Or
No, I know that's not a long-term plan.
They're 18th in the league. They're putting $50 million on the ice. There's 5 forwards out there. You have to figure it out. It's just, I mean, the pressure, probably Savvy doesn't love thinking about it every night where it's just not going in for him, but it's the same thing. So I don't know. It's kind of frustrating to watch.
A little bit strange.
Max Domi?
Yeah, sure.
Good game. Thought he was
Shot the
great
puck.
last night.
Yeah.
Trying to have different looks.
Yeah, I said to Sam before, like a couple times he shot the puck. I was like, I don't know if that's a spot you want to do it, but I'd rather him err on the side of shooting it than not.
Okay.
Not to go full Ross act. Oh yeah, play the clip and we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll take Berube's Kipper's clipper on Max Domi.
I thought he was fine. I thought he skated, and I thought he had some shots. He looked to shoot more, and I was happy with his game.
So yeah,
and he did.
Mid.
Not to not to go
was pretty
full Ross Atkins here, but I thought the process was good.
Yeah.
Thought the process was better. Like the results definitely weren't there. He was banging it off the end glass a few times, but he looked like a guy that listened to the coach.
Is that a reference to the offer for Soto?
No,
I can't believe we didn't do any Jays talk today because Sammy's got Jays thought.
No.
No. The thing for Soto was we were honored to be a part of the process.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I meant. You said
I
process.
said process, but like baseball guys are very like process oriented because it's such a long,
I
stupid
wasn't sure if it
season.
was a shot or not.
No,
on
but
the
like
word process.
he would say process. He's the type of guy that would say process. Let's just
Trust
say
the
that.
process.
Anyways, the process was good for him last night. Shot it more, was around the net, thought he had some chances, thought he easily could have scored. So they need more of that, and he was good.
So Alex Nylander's back down, right? They put him on
He's
waivers,
on waivers today, yeah.
which means they're making room for somebody to come in.
Funny you say that. I actually didn't process that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be McMahon coming back? Or
Maybe they needed to do it to get McKay back in.
McKay back in, Myers, they want to keep him around.
And then-
Because Myers and Rafai are both up right now.
Yeah. No, so I think it would be because I saw somewhere that McMahon was scheduled to come back against the Ducks. So like they were aiming to have the Ducks. And they, what are you looking at me like that?
McMahon's not close. He's not even skating, it sounds like.
No, he is.
Yeah.
I
He
is
think he
close?
is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think we
read
could.
differently today somewhere.
If he's not tomorrow night, I think
damn,
he's
I
on
didn't know he's that
on the
close.
on the weekend maybe. But I heard he's close too.
Okay.
But then that's what it is. So then they're sending him down and maybe they can activate him and away they go. But
Okay.
anyways.
Well, that would be great. He's fast.
They're going to get some relief out of now. McMahon knocking on the door. Domi already here.
Yeah.
Pacioretty's already
Yes,
here.
it's less
It is-
Urbankin, Minton, Holmberg, top six.
It has to get better.
Hey, how about Nick Robertson not being able to get in last night against a fast team like that where he's already been healthy for a game. Like they kept Fraser Minton in over him. It's crazy. Like that's felt like a weird one to me to go 2 in a row for Robertson after a loss.
We do know how much they love Fraser.
That's true.
And
That's their baby.
You can't, I'm sorry, Nick, you cannot compete against that love.
You really can't.
Yeah, but I think there's been I don't think he was very noticeable last night. I think there's been a bit of a dip for him since his hot start.
Well, that's
Tough game last night.
That's a tough game
For
against
sure.
a very fast, skilled hockey club.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah, tough spot to go out there in the third line. Their centers are Nico Hischier, Jack Hughes, and Eric Halla. 1, 2, 3 down the middle. Justin Dowling, not a bad fourth line center either.
Yeah.
So that's a tough night for sure.
Before we go to break, because we're going to go to break here soon, and then we'll talk about Pacioretty on the other side.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play this Anthony Stolarz clip because he went home to New Jersey, gets the win from his friend and family, and this is what he had to say after the game.
It must be that New Jersey water. So, it's definitely exciting. Grew up a Devils fan, so anytime that you can beat your childhood team, it's exciting. But I think for us, just to kind of get back in the win column was huge, and we have a busy month, so hopefully we can just keep it going here.
And that got me thinking of one of my favorite movies of all time, Happy Gilmore, and you quoted it, and we had that clip, Derek.
I'll tell you, the real winner today is the city of Portland. Every time I come here, it gets harder to leave. I think you guys put something in the water.
You guys put something in the water.
Excuse me, I gotta go play a little golf.
Good luck.
Nice
He went
drop.
full Shooter
Put
McGavin.
something in the water.
It's got to be something in the water.
I think you guys put something in the water.
So we'll see.
Makes good bagels, whatever it is.
We'll see Joseph Wall tomorrow night against Anaheim, a game that me and you will be part of the telecast.
Yeah, that's exciting. If you go to NHL stats and look at save percentage, minimum 10 games played, Woll is now in the top 5. He's 5th in
Yeah.
the NHL. Stolarz is 1st. So the Leafs have 2 goalies in the top 5 in save
And then
percentage.
Stolarz in Detroit on a Saturday night makes a lot of sense.
You don't think, I guess because they play the back-to-back on the weekend, they'll just go right to the switch again. But
Yeah.
I would be, if I was a head coach after watching that performance, I might be inclined to reward him with another one. Like, that was ridiculously good. And Wall's been awesome, don't get me wrong, but, he may deserve to have another start after that one, no?
I think he deserves a rest.
Yeah, the chaos in his crease before the Holmberg goal was like the game almost ended, right? It's 1-0. Leafs can't create anything.
Yeah.
They're digging in the crease, and all of a sudden they go down the other way. It's 1-1.
So, yeah, there's no credence to what I'm saying. He says he deserves a rest.
No, there's none.
Okay.
0.
There. Okay.
It's okay, Sammy.
Zero.
We
You don't
still
watch
love
the
you,
game very well.
right? And now that you've matured,
Oh, no. What did I
Jake
Schultz. Yeah.
Jake.
right?
Yeah.
He's
He's
no longer the
sophisticated.
snake now. He's just Jake Schultz.
He's just Jake Schultz.
Just
Find the scientific name for a snake.
what else can you
I'm
do?
evolving.
Mr.
Serpent.
Jake the Serpent Schultz is the next. He's leveled up.
No more Disco Dan either, or
Disco Dan. I haven't heard from Disco Dan in a while.
okay.
Serpent.
All right, let's take a
He's
quick.
too busy. He does a morning show. He does Raptors. He does everything. I don't know what he does.
We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll get into Max Pacioretty and what he's meant to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and also where was New Jersey's reaction to watching their superstar, get completely run over with no response. That conversation is a must after the break. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Max Pacioretty. The human missile. Apparently, he was told right from training camp, we need a guy to run people over.
Mm-hmm.
And he stepped up. Like, how else can you describe it? This guy was, at one time, the most dangerous scorer in the prime of his career for the Montreal Canadiens.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's just gone to keep your head up, kid.
Yeah, he's just he made some noise about like appreciating guys like Dale Weiss.
Yeah,
and, like these guys.
we have that clip.
Oh, do you?
So
Okay, cool.
this is from yesterday, and this is very apt after what happened last night. So this is from yesterday on his roll clip, Max Pacioretty.
Pacioretty?
Okay, maybe
No?
not. Maybe not.
Okay.
But he talked about basically that, like, he had a bunch of guys come in for him when he was a young guy playing this role and, doing the grunt work. And then last night, he does the grunt work.
Yeah, maybe I didn't appreciate them enough or something to that effect.
Let's start with Craig Berube on a Kipper's Clipper on the Pacioretty hit on Jack Hughes.
Well, we finally got some contact from somebody, which was good, because if you're not going to take the body on this team and let them skate around all night, we're going to be in trouble. It pumps guys up. It's a good hit, clean hit, and we needed it.
Big hit, clean hit.
So we've had conversations on where's that line between answering it, not answering it, fighting, not fighting. And I'm now kind of come to a little bit of the other side where I don't believe that you have to fight right away.
Right away.
But if you're listening, New Jersey Devil players, that doesn't mean that you don't have to do anything at all.
Dougie Hamilton is also, I may say, the most Sheldon Keefe player to get stuck with, who is so talented, but just doesn't really want to do that stuff. And he was the closest guy to it there and was like, hey,
But
not cool, man.
Kipper, that's not a wait and see one. That's
Jack Hughes.
That's your superstar.
Yeah,
that's
listen,
one of the best
I won't argue that. I won't argue that. And if I was on the ice, I'd go right after him as well.
Brendan Dillon is one of the toughest guys in the league. He fought Gadjevich. He's watching it happen.
Yep.
How do the flippers not fly off him? Oh, we have a viz of it.
This is amazing.
I can't believe.
And night-night.
Like, rewatching that, how does he not?
Hamilton's like afraid to, he's like petting him.
Get the.
In all honesty, at that point, I think Hamilton and a few others are like, we're up 1-0. It's the end of the second period.
Too bad.
Listen, I'm not.
No,
I believe that an emotional response would probably be beneficial down the road instead of worrying about that moment. And that stuff does bring your team together. I've lived it. I've felt it. They missed an opportunity last night.
Yeah. And he went over the top of Jack Hughes. I have this like terrible memory. Quick story. When I was in Utah, you go to schools with the kids and participate in stuff and playing in the East Coast League. And I ran over some like 4 or 5-year-old girl playing like dodgeball, like just like completely.
Wow.
Oh, it was terrible. Like I didn't see her coming. We're just running around. I felt like Hughes was the 4-year-old girl there, however old she was. It's just like, he had no chance.
Do people still cancel people still?
Yeah,
now? Because that could be it right now.
Long story. It's a long story, but I really did.
It's the real Kipper and McKee show
It's a real
now.
Kipper and cancel.
She had an ice pack and asked me to sign the ice pack after it.
Oh,
it was
my
really
God.
Sad.
No, so I've had. Okay, so I did on Leafs Talk. We did a big conversation about this, and I drew a parallel. I did between what the conversations we used to have about the Leafs, about the lack of response to stuff with Keefe at the helm, and then that happens last night with the Devils, with him at the end. And I drew the parallel, and they sent out a clip, and the Devils Twitter got a hold of it, and people are all over me. They're like, oh, it's a 1-0 game, blah, blah, blah. It's a close game. I'm like, buddy, I've been there.
We've excused it away.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I know that argument. I've had that argument. I've done that argument for the years. The Leafs have done nothing. And I can't sit here and say that, like, it's a close game, nothing should happen. That's a situation. That's an exception to the rule. That's your best player. That's a star in the league getting Mike Pecked. Like, that's a Mike Richards in his prime hit.
But so is this a case of a team taking on the personality of the coach? Or is this just, again,
That's a good question.
Or again, does he not have the personnel?
I don't know.
He not have the type of guys who play that way?
Like,
it's not like Keefe left here and all of a sudden, Matthews and Marner are fighting people.
I think Keefe.
Marner did punch somebody this year, first ever.
I do believe that Sheldon Keefe could have strategically said something post-game comment.
Did you hear what he said?
No. Do we have it?
You're not going to like it, buddy.
Okay, let's hear it.
Clip 4 from Keefe.
Talked after the loss on Sunday that you wanted to see an emotional response. Did you see that in those final 10 minutes of the game?
It was our best game of the season. I feel like I said I'm leaving here today feeling as good as I have about our team all year.
Clip 4, Keefe, please.
5. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
What'd you see?
Sorry.
What'd you
That's
see
it,
on
right?
Pacioretty's hit on Jack?
I saw him hit Jack. It was not even a factor in the game. I forgot it even happened.
Yeah.
You can't have guys running our best players.
Yeah.
Just can't.
You forgot it even happened?
Well, that may explain why the Leafs were the Leafs all those years that you just mentioned.
I don't.
I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it. That's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
The comment you don't like.
His comment.
Yeah.
That I'm not saying that you have to go to the public and air anything that you feel too much, but there has to be a message to every team that you're playing from here on in that, we have to have a better response when people are targeting our best players.
I mean, even I thought Nyes on Kovacevic, who it's an awkward play. I think he's just a big guy who kind of leans on a guy who's in a bad spot.
Really? You didn't think it was that bad?
I thought it was bad.
I thought it could have been a major. I
Yeah,
thought
me
it was pretty
too. The way it worked out and all that, I didn't think it was full of malice.
No.
He didn't run him like Patrick Coletta used
Yeah.
to.
But there was plenty of time to pull up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. So totally. And again, no one, I think Kovacevic got up and said something to Connor Timmins, had it wrong about who the guy was.
Yeah.
And again, the Leaf player came out like,
Okay.
yeah.
So the other mistake I think Sheldon made last night is that he's got a guy that they signed originally to go up against Matt Rempe.
Yeah.
Curtis McDermott,
yeah.
who's one of the toughest guys in the league.
Yeah.
So Matt's not even a factor for the Rangers. I think he's either in the minors or might be back up, but is not
He's been up and down all year.
playing and not a factor.
Yeah.
But you still got Ryan Reeves over there, and you've got Craig Berube, one of the toughest players in the history of our game, and a newfound team toughness. How is this guy not in the lineup?
McDermott?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How?
I mean,
Good point.
How?
well,
I guess it depends what you're prioritizing that day, and Sheldon is prioritizing being the fast team and trying to run and gun with the team he knows is pretty good.
And it's not like they signed McDermott to like $750 minimum. The guy's making like 1.4, if I'm not mistaken. It's decent. It's not outrageous, but it's enough to say that if you really just signed him to go up against Matt Rempe when you play the New York Rangers and nothing else, then at least sign him to a minimum contract. But to commit well over $1 million to this guy, you got to develop him. You have to have a reason why you signed him. And last night, to me, was a prime example of why you wanted. And the Leafs now, I'm telling you, through Pacioretty, through McCabe, through a couple other ones, they've now garnered a reputation for being this team that better keep your head up. They're going to take it off. And for me, for not one guy to go up to Max Pacioretty and say, listen, I'm coming after you, or it may not be the end of the game, but it's coming, or it needs to come right now, whatever decision. But for them to have zero response and for Max Pacioretty to have a credit card to go run Jack Hughes this team's not ready.
I mean, I'm looking at their lineup, and it reminds me of the Leafs in that they're not small, but a guy like Brett Pesce doesn't really push back like that. Timo Meier doesn't really push back.
There's nobody in the lineup.
Nico Hischier doesn't really push back like that. Like, they're big guys.
and
Like,
Curtis
they don't-
McDermott, just to your note, there's a story I'm just reading here from CBS Sports. Playing time, hard to come by. He's now been scratched for 8 of the Devils' last 10 games after sitting out the overtime loss to the Leafs.
He's definitely not a Keefe guy.
He hasn't played since November 30th.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard to talk out of both sides of your mouth, and you're like, well, they skated the crap out of the Leafs for the whole time. But I think it's still hockey, and it's a tough look to have one of the best players in the league, like I said, get Mike Pekka and, be lying on the ice there and have nobody do anything and no one even come up to him. It's a really bad look for them. It just is. So,
Yeah.
people probably don't care about that anymore, but I don't know.
No, I think it matters. Yeah. Go ahead.
And again, it's to Sam's point. Nice that the roles are reversed now for Leaf fans.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like, you don't have to be the fightiest group, but you do feel like you've got some guys that want to punch first rather than just retaliate, you know?
So you got a coach that stresses it, and then it's like a dominoes effect.
And
right?
do you think he stresses it, or do you think just his
No, I think he
presence, they know how
stresses
to
it.
please him?
I think he stresses it, and I think without him constantly stressing it, then guys like Timmins don't feel the pressure to finish a check. Listen, Bobby McMahon, who you've said that
I don't think he loves it.
may go against his normal personality. You know, he can be a dangerous guy out there. If you're not,
Yeah, he's put some people on their back.
he's put some people. He's hit some people hard.
Yeah.
Probably like him to do it a lot more consistently. He's going to come back. We'll see where
Benoit does it.
his next level stuff is.
Nyes has done it a couple times this year.
But they're bigger, and they are hitting harder than I've seen in 10 years.
Yeah, Lorenz finishes everything. They have a lot of guys that go through
So
bodies now.
if I'm Anaheim tonight, I gotta look twice at my lineup and go, okay, who do I have? If they start Pacioretty's flying around a little bit here, who have I got?
It's funny to be on this side of it after the past few years with the Leafs and to be like, I think everyone, on the broadcast last night, they're saying, start the car, right? They stole these 2 points or whatever. And it's like, they definitely did. They definitely stole the 2 points with some good goaltending. But there's a lot of these things that have gone against the Leafs. So you're like, I see how that helps the other team, right?
Yeah.
I see how it helps being the proactive hitter rather than the people being like, hey, stop that. I see how it, the way that they just sort of defend and make you, was it Berube said they defended the interior well, keep people to the outside. They did a lot of things that keep you in a game and give you a chance on the road. And
back check, forward check, and pay check.
Matthews makes a couple of plays. And
so you mentioned Timmins there, or one of you two mentioned Timmins, and I thought it was really bad against the Devils. I thought he was really struggling.
I thought Benoit struggled.
Me too. And they put Benoit with Tanev for a little bit of the game, like they were mixing it up, and I didn't love that. But to me, and this is maybe a bigger conversation we can have now, this stretch just illustrates how crucially important Jake McCabe is to this team.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just slots everybody into their correct places, and it feels like they have been not nearly as good defensively, pretty much since the second he went out.
And I think that's a big part of the reason the puck's in their end so much yesterday.
Yeah.
They didn't have a shutdown pair to shut anyone down.
Misery loves company. Matthew Nyes, to me, struggled last night, giving the puck away.
What are your thoughts on that, Keefe? I didn't see it as much. I didn't think he was good. I just didn't notice that as much. What did you see?
Sometimes he just has trouble picking the best option that he has.
Offensively with the puck.
Sometimes in his own zone.
Yeah.
But again, we're talking about a guy with 100-plus NHL games under his belt. So I think he's still learning. The problem is, unfortunately, he's asked to be the number one left winger on a team trying to win a Stanley Cup, which is a big ask. And he's learning as he goes along.
Do you want me to tease some of this work we're going to do on left wingers tomorrow, or do you want to save it for the
you know what? We'll get into it tomorrow.
Okay.
As we get ready for Anaheim, but
the point is, Kip's thing about left wingers and the Leafs pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's been
falling behind the best teams.
It's been their biggest challenge is finding that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
God, it would be funny to look at the list of guys they've had up there, from Nick Ritchie to Bunting to, now it's Nyes and Pacioretty and Joe Thornton and Andre Kasha and, Kerfoot forever. Kerfoot, you forget how much he played up there. Jason Spezza. Go through the list of guys they tried there.
Yeah.
It's a long list.
It is. Then you Mikheyev got time there.
It's a long list of mid.
Totally mid.
Flex seal.
Then you watch McKinnon and Rantanen as a left winger, and you're like,
I was going to say, I could play right wing on that line. They'd probably still get 20 a year.
Yeah, probably.
No, you couldn't.
No.
But
I said
it's a cute saying, but no, you couldn't.
I said they'd still get 20 a year playing with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought I heard we.
No, I said they would get
Okay.
it. I'd be such a detriment to them, but they'd still be able to get 20 in the league is with a joke, but tough one.
If you played with McDavid, McKinnon, McCarr, and Hughes, and you were the fifth guy, all your minutes with those guys,
No, I'd still get caved
think you
in.
get 10 a year?
Buddy, you never see me skate. I'd caved in. Caved in. Yeah, that would not go well. Yeah.
How do we do on your clips?
I think we got through them.
Only thing I don't think we played is Chris Tanev, the reason he won the game. But I'm imagining he just says the goalies.
He just says Stoli.
Yeah.
It's a funny clip.
All right, we like funny.
Okay. Yeah.
Stoli. So I think obviously without him, it's not even close. So big props to him.
There you go.
There are some guys who they just like never interview. Like I don't remember him saying anything this year. TJ Brody, did he do an interview as a Leaf?
Yeah, not really.
No.
Rare.
He is without a doubt their best defenseman.
Tanev?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if Canada needed him or Morgan Riley, you'd
Well,
rather
what do you
be
need?
Tanev?
Just shutdown guy.
Yeah. I do want to have a quick chat about Connor Dewar. How often can he do literally nothing? I understand he was on the ice for the Holmberg goal. Can he do literally nothing all year and we're just going to go, it's fine. So we don't expect anything. Or at some point, do you want something?
I like him. Wish he was 6 inches taller, but I like him.
What's he do?
I don't know. He's a presence out there to me.
He's a presence.
He is. I don't know. Like he kills penalties. He's gritty. He's in guys' faces.
We do not agree.
Gets the puck in deep. He skates around. Like
he does skate around.
To me, he's fine. Like that's the last thing. If you have Connor Dewar playing 8 or 9,
Flex seal.
If he's playing 8 or 9 minutes, he's fine.
Maybe we should give Flexi
to Dewar?
No, just more credit.
It's a quality product.
Or Kerfoot.
Kerfoot.
Oh yeah.
Flex seal.
Yeah.
Seal
Right?
and stop
He
leaks
did every
fast.
once in a blue moon put a puck in the net.
Yeah, including in the playoffs, the Leafs in overtime.
But
Give him a
like
3-1 series lead.
That's
That
right.
was fun.
But Connor Dewar, like I like him too. He's an honest player.
Yeah.
Works hard, kills penalties.
Yeah.
But like nothing ever happens. Nothing.
But there's
That's the whole bottom six,
there's a clump of them. Like he's one of
Right.
that you can say that.
But it's like he's wearing camo. It's like no one ever talks about the fact that he's been in the lineup every night with 0-0-0-0. What's the Sam? Is it Sam Mitchell?
Boring.
He didn't get an assist on that one last night?
No, we didn't. Touch
Nothing worse than goose eggs.
he might have one. I don't even know. But I think
No, I don't think he's.
I think he's
I, don't-
goose eggs.
I think he's goose eggs.
How
And
can,
it's
how can he not get an assist on that goal? It was all him.
if he
But
created it, I don't
he-
think he touched the puck.
He might have got off his skate. They could give him one for that. No?
But the point is, like, if you're looking for someone where you go, okay, we need to like spice up this bottom six, get a little offense. I would like to clarify. Tons of respect for the player. Great effort, great work ethic, the whole thing. Just
No, it's too late. You buried him.
all right, it's fine.
Yeah, there's no coming back off of that.
Whatever.
He did get an assist.
On that goal,
Yeah. Played it 8 minutes and 53 seconds plus one assist,
Off
and you're
the
killing him.
schneid.
You're killing him. You're killing him.
it's his only point of the season.
And
He's
a
got
huge
one
play.
shot in his last 5 games, bud. He's on fire. I'm surprised. You mentioned Flex Seal and their Kerfoot. I sent out a tweet about the Jays' new trade, and I said, explain this in hockey terms, and I got 100 Kerfoots. So, probably going to love Jimenez.
So you're not happy about the big
So
trade?
he's value.
I don't know. No, he makes like $23 million until the year 30.
I'm thrilled.
He's an average hitter.
Yeah,
Is that
it's
what he is?
below.
So he's really.
He's Connor Dewar of hitting.
He's the Dalton Varsho of the infield.
But the Jays are going to win a lot of games 1-0 off
Yeah,
his
hopefully.
defense.
Hopefully.
That one tickets, baby.
Right?
Hopefully.
All right. Our thanks to nobody. Nobody joined us, did they?
Nothing.
Sam, good lineup.
Oh, our thanks to you guys. All right. National coming up next. Don't go away. All right, let's get the National Hour going on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. You're watching, listening, Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in Rob Brown, former NHLer, Edmonton Oiler analyst. They've gotten hot in the last little while. Quietly, maybe, or not so quietly.
Yeah, I think fairly quietly. It's just they kind of been winning. What do they got? 3 in a row here, and 5 of the last 6, I think, 6 of the last 7, something like that.
Good win last night.
Also, Dan Murphy is going to join us, right, in about 35 minutes?
Yep. We're going to talk Oilers. We're going to talk Canucks. And Senators a little, maybe?
Demko
Yes.
coming back. It's been a while. As far as the Oilers are concerned, they picked up a player on waivers today. Who'd they get, Sammy? Alec Regula.
I believe he was 3rd in line behind Evan Bouchard and Boquist in London. I believe he's a right shot D. Pretty young,
Which
obviously.
is very, very...
He is a 6'4", 211-pound right shot D who was a 3rd-round pick, and he has played 22 career hockey games. He is 24 years old.
If you are 6'4", 211, and a right shot D, you can be pretty bad. Teams will give you a chance. I'm not saying I don't know anything about the player. I'm just saying.
Leafs ran Liljegren out for.
It's like those dimensions. People are like, yeah, sure, let's try.
I'm not sure that's going to satisfy Oilers fans if
he's new Vinny Desharnais.
They don't see anything else between now and the trade deadline.
No.
Today, I came out for Sportsnet.ca, a bit of a trade list that has names that intrigue me.
Yes.
So, whether you feel or don't feel that Rasmus Andersson will get traded in Calgary or not by March, why I find his name intriguing moving forward. That's the type of thing I wanted to put together. And I included Sam Bennett guys on my list as well.
There is no chance Sam Bennett gets traded.
I can't disagree with you, but there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I've been privileged to know, including the number of teams that are going after Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So Barry Zito is going to walk into the locker room of the Florida Panthers.
Hold on. Before you start, I want to say I love that he's on there, and I'm excited about this.
Oh yeah, like drama with the Florida Panthers. Great.
And it's just
a great list.
But hold on. You be Matthew Tkachuk, I'll be Barry Zito. Matthew, we made a really tough decision for our organization today. We traded away Sam Bennett. Matthew, your thoughts?
Did we get McDavid back?
Your thoughts?
We're going to pick up this conversation after we get to our first guest. Brownie, save me here, would you? How are you?
I'm very good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. So big waiver wire pickup. They get help on the
great
blue
shirt,
line.
Brownie, great shirt.
Hey, yeah, look how sharp we look. That's nice.
A little baseball shirt.
Did you guys go 2 for 1?
We did. Got a deal.
You know what it's like, Kyper. We didn't make a lot of money when we played. We do the 2-for-1 things.
Find value.
Boy, they're winning now, the Oilers, and yet they found a way to add depth to their blue line off the waiver wire. What do you see?
I honestly, when I saw the pickup, I thought it's someone for the minors. Honestly, I really know nothing about this player at all. I think right now they're happy with everything that's happening on their back end. Kulak has been exceptional this year, moving up into a top 4 spot. Darnell Nurse is having a resurgence. He's been on a lot of nights the Oilers' best defenseman. And I think Emberson has really taken the role as a third pairing defenseman and a penalty killer and run with it. And Troy Stetcher, he's shown why he's been around for 500 games in the National Hockey League as an undersized defenseman. He just knows a way to play and keep himself in the lineup. So this team is, everything's going well right now for the Edmonton Oilers. It's a good time to be an Oiler fan again.
So what do you see out of Darnell Nurse? Because we do know he's been a bit of a lightning rod out there at times, and certainly at 9.25, some people feel like he'll never be able to live up to that, which kind of puts him behind the 8 ball. But for me, since coming back off the injury and the hit to Ryan Reeves, it's almost as if, he's dialed in or focused into being a simpler player, yet not as complicated as we've seen him in the past.
Well, I think the big problem for Darnell Nurse is his contract. And people out here in Edmonton see that contract and they expect him to play like a defenseman that makes $9.2 million. And they say, well, I mean, that's McCarr money, or that's Quinn Hughes money, or that's so-and-so's money. Darnell Nurse isn't those players. And I think at times, Darnell, because of his contract, felt that he had to do more than he was. And he would force things, and he would try to do too much. He would try to carry the puck in. He'd try the long 60-foot pass, and a lot of times he was getting himself into more trouble. Then that brought out the boo birds. It brought out the media on him, the social media, and it affected the way he played. I think right now he's just forgotten about all that and has gone back to what made Darnell successful. He plays a mean game and he plays a simple game. And when he does both of those, he's very effective. He has been a lot of nights the Oilers' best defenseman. He's playing with a snarl again. And the biggest thing with Darnell Nurse, he's playing with swagger and confidence. And when he plays with swagger, he's hard to play against. So there were a lot of question marks this year with Darnell Nurse. I think he's answered them. And he's been very, very good. He's got his teammates have his back. Leon talked about him the other night after the game. Ekholm talked about him, saying he's been our best defenseman for quite a while now. He'll never play up to the contract he had, but you just want him to be the best Darnell can be. And I think that's what we're seeing here so far this season.
Brownie, how has Kapanen been since they picked him up? We followed him here in Toronto for some years and know the speed he's got.
He's fast. It'll be interesting when they get fully healthy, where and if they continue to put him in the lineup. Right now, he's he and Podkolzin, they were guys that were in and out of the lineup wherever they were before, and now they're both playing with Leon Draisaitl, one of the best, if not best, passers in the world. Kapanen's been good. The production hasn't been there, but I don't know if you guys watched the game last night, there was a shot block on a Hedman shot late in the game that Kapanen went down and blocked. That was a big moment in that hockey game. And it was appreciated by the fans in Edmonton. He got a rousing ovation for the remainder of that shift and when he left the ice. So he, like a Podkolzin, are understanding the opportunity they have here right now. And there's an appreciation for that. He does have speed. I think he's a guy that would be very good as a penalty killer. Probably fits in better further down the lineup, because if you're playing with Leon, there has to be production. But I think he has surprised a lot of people. A guy that you just pick up for nothing, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a second, this guy fits in quite well. So he's, I think, a new lease on life here in Edmonton, and he's taken full advantage of it so far.
Where's Evan Bouchard's game on this recent run here for you? And, are we still hearing noise about this guy making over $10 million on his next contract?
You will hear that for there's you either love Evan Bouchard or you have a distaste for Evan Bouchard. I think what you've seen in the last little while, you've seen some of the reasons why he's going to get $10 million when he's moving the puck, the goal he scored in Ottawa, end to end, the big slap shot on the power play. But you also, if you saw the Toronto game, the big giveaway that created the turnover, that's the big goal for the Leafs in that game. Last night against Tampa Bay, Kucherov was silent. His line was silent all game long. And then Bouchard throws a puck middle of the ice in his own zone, goes off a player, and they score seconds later. They have to get that out of his game. And when he simplifies his game, he's incredibly effective, but he is still prone to the big mistake. And I think that not making the Team Canada, the Four Nations, last night he's playing against the coach who was part of the process that didn't pick him. And there was the play that would have been in the second period, the one that gave Kucherov and Getzel the goal. And their coach is probably thinking, that's why we didn't pick him. Great talent. He just has to get rid of the big mistake. And it has creeped into his game a couple times this year.
And they also didn't pick the goaltender there, who's been very good here, right? He's 6 of the last 7 starts, above a .930 save percentage. Is there belief again that this is the guy that they can ride to win the Stanley Cup?
There's belief in the dressing room. Yeah. I believe that Skinner's good enough. Yep. We still get a lot of phone calls on our show after the Oilers games with Chad that we don't believe that this is the goalie. You got to go find a different goaltender. Skinner's not the guy. Yet I'm like, well, I mean, he took him to Game 7 last year, and he gave up 2 on the road in Game 7. Most nights that wins you a hockey game. He's been excellent as of late. There's a lot of reasons the Oilers' season has turned, but probably the biggest one is the goaltending has solidified. Skinner last night, he outplayed Vasilevsky. He beat Binnington a couple of games ago. I mean, both guys are Four Nation Cups top goaltenders.
Right.
So he has the ability. For him, again, it's confidence. But right now, Stuart Skinner's been excellent. He was in not a tough game yesterday for him. I mean, Tampa didn't have a lot of grade A scoring chances, but there were 3 big saves in that game. There was one, a points blank one in the second period. There was a Kucherov breakaway, and there's a big glove save near the end of the game. The Oilers weren't getting those saves in the first 10 games of the season. They're getting those saves now from Stuart Skinner. He's been excellent.
There would have to be a major meltdown of this season for them to push off of Skinner.
I can't see that happening at all for a lot of reasons. A, they got no salary cap money. B, the assets that you would need to go and trade for a top tier goaltender, and the fact that most teams won't trade. If you got a really good goalie, they're not getting rid of him. I can't. Stuart Skinner's their guy. They have belief in him. This team, this general manager, this coaching staff, and certainly the players believe Skinner is good enough. He's well liked by his teammates, and right now, the way he's playing, you're like, okay, that's the guy that took us through all the way to the finals last year. If he can continue that, this team is going to continue to push up the standings and challenge for a division in a conference. So to me, Skinner and Pickard are their guys. They're very happy with the two of them, and they should be with the way they've played over the last probably 6-7 weeks.
Yeah, it's funny, going into the year, I was in the camp that had him as a guy who could have a great year. You know, that confidence from playoffs and kind of the age he's at. It just felt like he was due to break out. If he continues to play like this, I think the numbers will end up reflecting a pretty good season. So then, if you look at this team, and we know how close they were last year, and they're starting to look like that team where if they play okay, they win. That's how you know a really good team. Like, they just have to be okay and they win. What are they missing? Like, what from here till the deadline is going to be like, all right, we got to find this little extra something to put us over the top?
Well, it's funny. This summer, they signed Skinner and Arvidsson. That was going to be the second line to play with Leon Draisaitl. We've got a second line. Now we have the best top 6 in the National Hockey League. Jeff Skinner has spent most of the time on the third or fourth line. And when Arvidsson's been on the line with Leon Draisaitl, I think he has 2 goals on the season until he got hurt. So I think for me, their second line needs to be better. Not Leon. Leon has been exceptional all season long, but they do need more consistent production. I think Podkolzin's been very good with Leon, but again, he's got, I think, 5 points on the season or 6 points on the season, and that's playing primarily with Leon. They haven't had anyone score on his wing other than Podkolzin in the last 15 games, maybe something along that line. So I think production out of their second line. I think they will get more abrasiveness when Evander Kane comes back. That's going to be a little more swagger. You're adding something for nothing when Kane comes back into your lineup. And then on the back end, I think they want depth. Kulak has been exceptional this season. He and Nurse have been playing together. And people are saying, well, now you move Kulak up and you just get a third pairing defenseman at the deadline. The problem with that, if you don't get a top 4 guy, if someone in your top 4 goes down, Nurse, Ekholm, or Bouchard, you've got nobody that really can fill that role in the organization if Kulak is one of your top 4. So I think they're going to want to pick up someone as a depth defenseman, like a 4 or 5 at the deadline. You can never have enough defensemen.
Right.
So this is, to me, that's it. Depth defenseman, number 4 or 5 defenseman. They need some scoring out of their second line, and I think they will welcome Evander Kane's abrasiveness and physicality back into the lineup whenever he comes back.
A 4 or 5 that you speak of probably is in the ballpark of $5 million out there. Ristolainen in Philly comes to mind for me. Not crazy about the years that he's had, but I think he's played a little better in Philadelphia. But what's to give up to get your 4 or 5 on the blue line?
See, this is the problem for the Oilers. They don't have a lot of assets. They've moved a lot of assets over the last number of years. And if they get into a bidding war with other teams, if there's, say, Ristolainen or Fowler or whoever you see out there as a top 4 guy, and there's always multiple teams that want those players. If they start throwing assets out there, I don't know what the Oilers have. They don't have a lot of assets. They've lost a lot of youth. I think the Broberg and Holloway loss has really affected the Oilers. That's two young players right there. That Broberg being your top four and Holloway's having an exceptional year with St. Louis. I think Bowman is going to have to get creative. The Oilers are a good team. You got Leon and Connor who are at the top of their games. They've filled in the rest of their lineup quite well. I think that to me, it's a must. They're going to have to upgrade their blue line just because if any injury befalls one of their top three players, that would be a big loss for this team because they don't have the depth in number 6, 7, 8, 9, or wherever you may go down into the minors.
So looking at the Pacific Division, curious what you think of a couple teams around the Oilers. The Canucks are within a point of them and the Kings are ahead of them. It feels like the Oilers are the best team of that group. Hopefully Canucks fans weren't listening to that, but where do you see them amidst all those teams?
I see Vegas and the Oilers as the two best teams. I just love the way Vegas plays. I have a newfound respect, and I've said it many times, for Jack Eichel. I wasn't a huge fan of him until I saw him in the playoffs against the Oilers a couple of years ago. Okay, this guy is good. He's very good. So I think those are the two best teams. I do believe Vancouver has the ability to knock teams off once they get fully healthy, once Demko's back and playing to his potential, once JT Miller gets back playing. He was awesome last year against the Oilers in the playoffs. But I think the Oilers, I like them better than both those teams if all the teams are healthy. I do believe that any team that comes out of the Western Conference to go challenge for the Stanley Cup will have to go through either Edmonton or Vegas or possibly both of them to move on to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think they're that good. And the team that scares me the most in the other conference or the other division out here is the Colorado Avalanche. I think when they get fully healthy, and now they've got two goaltenders that they believe they can trust, and Wedgwood's got 2 wins for them, and he's going to be their backup. And that's a team that can scare you because any team with Rantanen and McKinnon and Makar, they're hard. They're going to be a hard out. But I believe in the Oilers division. I believe it's Vegas and Edmonton that'll be battling it out.
So if I read this correctly here, and the depth that you may have mentioned just earlier, you're not quite there that as is right now that the Oilers could beat Vegas as is?
Well, the problem for me, I believe the Oilers and Vegas are tight. And we just watched them play the other night, and it was a 1-0 game. I thought the Oilers were
It's a great
a bit
game.
better.
It's a great 1-0 game.
Fantastic game. Yeah, 100%. Aiden Hill was sensational in that game for Vegas. The Oilers outshot them 16-2 in the third period. Hill was outstanding. I believe that those two teams right now would be a 7-game series, but I believe Vegas is going to be better after the trade deadline. As we've seen, they're not afraid to make a move. We've seen that the last number of years. And I do believe the Oilers are going to have to get better as well. I think the Canucks are going to make themselves better. I think they're going to try and make a splash at the deadline. Dallas now all of a sudden has some money free. They're going to make a splash at the deadline because they got Sagan on injured reserve. So I don't believe any team in the Western Conference are going to stand still. I think they all need to and will improve at the deadline. I think the Oilers, to me, the one thing that scares me about the Oilers, if one of their top 3 defensemen get hurt, Nurse, Ekholm, or Bouchard, I don't believe they have enough depth in their organization to cover one of those 3 off. So I think you want to have a number 4 defenseman come in, and then that'll give you a bit more depth in case of injury.
What do you think makes the coach there stand out? Like, what's a unique characteristic of a Chris Knobloch team, do you think? Because we've had him on our show before, and he's a very quiet, soft-spoken man.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think he's very calm.
Yeah.
He's calm.
Extremely calm.
Yeah, well, there was a game this year. I think it was this year. They had 2 or 3 goals go against them, where it was like they kept going to review and they kept losing these reviews. And you look at him on the bench, and it's like he's thinking, okay, got to pick up eggs afterwards on the way home. So it's like he just nothing bothers him. And I do believe this Oiler team for a number of years were very undisciplined. They would take a lot of bad penalties, and some of them were their star players. This team right now is a very disciplined hockey club. They don't take dumb penalties. And I think a lot of that is a reflection of their coach. He doesn't get fired up, so the players don't. Nothing seems to bother him, so now it doesn't bother the Oilers. The Oilers give up too early. Okay, we'll get through this. The Oilers start it's a fire drill late in the third. Okay, well, calm down. We'll figure it out. And I think also communication. I know that when Kyper and I, when we played, it was you were told to do something and you did it. You didn't ask why. It's like, you know what? I want you to go run straight in the boards as hard as you can, bang your head 10 times. Okay, coach, I will do that. Okay.
Whereas your generation goes, why?
Yeah, I'm going to need some answers here.
Tell me why.
So nowadays, it's different. You do want to know why. And so I do believe the communication with Knobloch is very good with his players. And he's still hard. Like he benched Draisaitl earlier this year. And Leon wasn't happy, but what Leon do? He went out and I think he scored the tying goal and then the game winner in overtime, something along that line. So I think communication is huge and his calmness. And to me, he's a lot like when I watched Tampa play, John Cooper's the same way. Nothing really seems to rattle him. And I think those are the type of coaches that have success nowadays.
To Brownie's point, the fourth fewest penalties in the NHL this year.
I got to ask you one more, and that's as we close out 2024. There's a hockey player that's eligible for a new contract in July, named Connor McDavid. Is there any talk at all about it, or how much money, or the length
that Juan
of it?
Soto deal, or
yeah,
what?
like where's the vibe in Edmonton on Connor McDavid and his contract?
Well, I think this is one where they give him a pen. Okay, write down what you want, and we'll get it for you.
What we're paying you.
I think when Leon signed, all fear of Connor leaving left. They're best friends, and I think now, and it doesn't mean he's going to stay, but I think there was a ton of fear that if Leon leaves, okay, Connor's going to follow him. But as soon as Leon signed, like even the press, all the media said, okay, calm down, everybody. Connor's staying. There was more Connor staying than Leon staying after Leon signed the contract. We don't hear a lot about numbers. There's no one's really worried out here about that. They feel that at the end of the season, well, there's two things that the Edmonton fans believe in. At the end of the season, they'll be holding a Stanley Cup, and then about a week and a half later, they'll be signing Connor McDavid to an 8-year contract. So I hope both of those come true, because we saw how much fun it was last year at Edmonton out here. But Connor will sign a big deal. I don't think it'll be Juan Soto money, but I'm sure that it will be enough to help be able to get him through the next few years here in the Edmonton Winters.
Awesome stuff, Brownie. Really appreciate your time as always, my friend.
Sounds good, guys. If I don't see you beforehand, have a very Merry Christmas.
You too. Thanks, Brownie.
Rob Brown, former NHLer, does a great job covering the Edmonton Oilers for Ched.
Yeah. Do you want to hazard a guess at the number?
You said
I just
3
feel,
years,
I just
$30 million.
I just feel like he's in a tough spot, and just must be a horrible feeling to be like at the top of your profession worldwide, and have a feeling of, I don't want to take too much money that people resented on the cap. I also have a responsibility to the Players Association to keep it as healthy as I can under the restrictions of a salary cap. But like they don't get to be Juan Soto and go, highest bid, let's go, most money wins. And so keeping that in mind with Draisaitl at 14, I don't know if he can go much further than 15-5, 16.
Really? I'm surprised.
That's what he said from 3 years ago. He said they're going to make $30 million combined.
But we didn't know the salary cap was going to go up this
30
much.
and 32, between 30 and 32. So
yeah, that's
as I had them combined.
I wonder if the skyrocketing cap will help him make 17.
It could. And
I mean, he should make 17.
He should make 17.
And if he's going to sign for 8 years,
it could be. Listen, if it was 20, I wouldn't argue it if he said 20.
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah.
But
he won't.
What does it do to the rest of the team? What does it do to give him another chance to win a Stanley Cup if he hadn't had one by the end of this year?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but, I mean, the thing is with his number, with like any superstar, you're not like, oh boy, that $18 million we're giving McDavid's really holding us back.
Yeah, not a chance.
You're not
No,
thinking about that for
Yeah.
1 second when he's putting in 150 points every year. You're not really worried about that as much.
But there's a guilt factor that
Of course,
just no
but that's-
other player has to deal with.
If you're the Oilers, you're leaning on that guilt.
Oh,
there.
yeah,
No other
but, like,
player in the sport has to deal with
What
it
other
other than
sp-
hockey.
Exactly what I was going to say. Are we the only guilty conscience boys, the hockey guys? It's like, oh, I don't know. Like,
Oh, geez, goodness
I
me.
don't know. Better not take all the money. He's going to spend it on aloe hats and
The
like
one that could be dangerous is
kale
Bouchard.
smoothies anyway.
Yeah, that one gets
That
you.
one could be dangerous because no one will ever accuse Connor of taking too much money, but that guy could be accused of it.
Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you, has the big mistake D-man ever become not a big mistake D-man? Do you remember any Jake Gardners that, like, at the end of their career stopped doing it? Or does a guy like Bouchard thrive because he takes chances, and to take chances and make plays, you have to sometimes give up the odd pizza? Can you fix the thing they're talking about that may have kept him off Team Canada?
I think you can. I think Brownie talked about it a little bit. You could kind of calm it down a little bit.
Curb it. Just
Curb
dial
it. Yeah, dial it down. But if he's going to make 10 sheets, it's because he's kind of looks like Erik Karlsson.
Yeah.
Shooting it in the net.
And I
Power
want to
play,
clarify,
shooting
it's
it in the
okay
net.
to be a big mistake D because you do make exceptional plays.
Especially you get 70 points a year, you can make the odd mistake.
Yes.
Uh,
And, the guys who lead the league in points often lead it in giveaways too. That's kind of how it goes.
Having said that, I'm kind of happy they left him on the
But
team.
having said that,
Uh,
it makes you nervous.
It's game time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Light night on the ice tonight. I wanted to say that.
Light night.
Light night. 2 games. The Anaheim Ducks are in Ottawa, a game that's on our network. Our very own Justin Bourne on the panel tonight with, I believe, David Amber, Luke Gazdick, and Sam Cosentino, if I'm correct. There you
Yes.
go.
I have analysis for you.
You work tonight and tomorrow night?
Yeah.
This guy works, man. He's a worker.
Your wife's going to think that maybe you've got something going on the side.
And then she turns to the TV. She's like, oh, there's that dork. He's
Yeah,
up there.
there's- physically can track me at all times.
The Ottawa Senators are huge favorites at home, minus 245 on home ice. They obviously need wins in the worst way possible. Anaheim and their horrible jerseys coming to town, plus 200. I have no idea on that game. You be buyer beware on either side. The other game on the ice tonight, New York Rangers in Buffalo to take on the Sabres. Speaking of 2 teams that need wins desperately, the Buffalo Sabres are plus 125 underdogs against the New York Rangers, 150 on the other side of the money line. Again, no idea, but you probably got to go with the Rangers. They have Shesterkin and net.
No
and
way.
Right, no
But
way.
The Rangers are dogs right now.
Yeah, but I
Dogs.
mean, I don't know if you've seen the Buffalo Sabres recently, but they're bringing masks to the game, like the bags and palm trees,
They're
like
back to wearing the bags.
and they're bringing palm trees now because of Kevin. It's not pretty there either, pal. So
No.
a lot of
Well,
Rangers
great
fans in the
point by
building
you.
tonight. There'll be a lot of Rangers
Can they
fans
both
there.
lose?
Yeah, it's going to be an ugly one. I have no idea. So, anyways, that
What
was
you
game
got?
time presented by Bet365. Visit the app, latest odds, and find out why it's ever ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. We should go to Get to Murph.
I was just going to say that I just don't understand Kevin Adams going to the public and talking about what is missing from players wanting to come
I
and
think
play
it
in
was
Buffalo.
Mike Harrington. It was one of the Buffalo reporters, or Lance Lukowski, who asked to speak to Adams, and they just said, "Okay, let's just talk to all the reporters at once." So it was kind of an impromptu press conference.
Which makes his mistake even worse, that he got
Premeditated.
he got sucked in, or he just wasn't prepared to go to the public and then didn't.
yeah,
I
you
don't.
had to have a message to bring. To
He
the public.
did. Like
Yeah.
when you do that and when you start talking off the top of your head, there's nothing but trouble for those guys.
That's when you become
Well, for
pure.
us.
That's when you become pure Dorian and go, "We're a team.
Yeah, or the rebuild's over.
The rebuild's over." Yeah, we should go.
Okay, let's go to break, and then when we return, some news and notes, and Dan Murphy. We talk Demko next on the Real Kipper and Bourne Show. All right, we're back. A reminder, this hour of Real Kipper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Let's welcome in Dan Murphy, host of Hockey Night in Canada. Does a terrific job covering the Canucks on Sportsnet.
Wow, Mr. Smith.
Murph, how are you, pal?
I'm good, fellas. How are you today?
Well, you set the table for us, and we're not even there to have dinner soon with you. Hey, you're for those of you
presents.
For those of you that can't see on Zoom, man, he is in the Christmas spirit right now. Fantastic job. Listen, I don't know where we want to start here. Do we want to start about Tocchet and how he's maybe running out of patience with, I don't know, Murph, guys like you asking him about Petey after every game, or do we just go straight to Demko? Where do you want to go?
Well, let's start with Tocchet.
Okay.
Because I think, we've seen how he's, conducted himself for the last, season and a half, and he's one of the most engaging, coaches post-game. He rarely minces words. He tells you honest answers. He doesn't speak cryptically. So, for him to, be running out of patience a little bit yesterday, said two things. That, yes, one, in this market, people fixate on Pettersson a lot. And I think probably that comes with the price tag of over $11 million, his contract being at this season. And two, I think that Tocchet's probably a little disappointed with the way his team has played so far this season. And, that's not to say there haven't been challengers. There have been a ton. But I think that that answer last night and the lack of patience and a little bit of frustration in his voice probably, is a combination of both of those things.
And is there anything like maybe he doesn't want to slander Petey? Like maybe he's not that happy with Petey's play, but he's just not looking to cause another rift here?
Yeah, well, I think that's it. I think Pettersson's he's got, I think, 25 points in his last 18 games or something. Like, he's producing, but I think he's only got 3 5-on-5 goals this year. There's no question he is better now than where he was at the start when there was a lot of focus on him. But I think in this market that if Pettersson goes a game and doesn't have a point, the first question is what's wrong with Pettersson? Right. And when he has a couple of points, the question is, how good was Pettersson? So this always seems to be a focus, and perhaps Tocchet thinks it shouldn't be as much of a focus on the one particular player at this time. And I think you're right. Probably there's a little frustration with one of the guys that he hoped would be driving play right now, especially with some of the absences. And while Pettersson has picked it up, he's in a different stratosphere now in terms of paycheck. Yeah. And he's got to be one of those guys that can drive play on a nightly basis.
I want to get to Demko, but my last comment on Tocchet was just his ability to where we can physically watch him catch himself.
Yeah,
going,
he worked through that whole process. He's like, uh-oh.
Get off this train. Get off it. I know the Vancouver market. Get off this train track here. And I thought he turned it around pretty well for a guy that probably understands how sensitive the market can be.
Yeah, and you see that with a lot of Rick's answers. Like, he'll start giving an answer on something, and then he'll be realizing that this might be criticizing someone else, and then he'll be, well, not to criticize this, but he'll be giving an honest answer, realizing that it could be misconstrued onto another player. So I find that, because he's so honest, he's not a good liar, right? Like, he's not a good liar. When you ask him questions about who might be in or out, and if he's not supposed to give an answer, you can tell right away whether he's telling the truth. And I think that's probably a pretty good quality for a coach to have.
Yeah, for sure. So we will get into Demko then. He made his return after a couple of games backing up, which was kind of strange to me. Don't know if you have a thought on that, but how did he look in his first night back?
Well, he said that in his first game, he wanted to put his knee through hell. And his teammates said, we got you.
Yeah. All right.
I thought he looked pretty good. He gave the puck away on the opening goal. Played along the boards. But I think he looked pretty solid. Like I said, there was multiple breakaways. The Thomas one shorthanded in the first. I think a puck got by DeBrusque, and that was Kyrou that went on one. I believe also Holloway had one. There might have been a 2-on-0. So he faced a lot of quality chances. But he said after the game, he's always quite critical, and he felt rusty, and he said he overthought things. But these are all probably things he believed was going to happen in his first game back. I think the real good thing is that they took the ice today, and he was a full practice today. So there wasn't any lingering effects. He wasn't too sore to practice today. So I think the fact that he got through the first game, looked decent, and the next day was able to practice, I think is a great sign for this team.
Is that seen enough for maybe some fans who were starting to question, like, if in fact he'd ever come back? Is that too strong of a statement here?
No, I think just because of the nature of how it went, right? Like, he played game 1 of the playoffs, and then it was like, oh, if they make it to the conference finals, he might be playing. And maybe he was lying to himself, thinking he might get back. And then all of a sudden we get to training camp and he's not going to be available, and we don't know for how long, and there's no timeline, and he's dealing with an injury that nobody's ever heard of before and no hockey players ever had. So I think, there should have been a lot of questions asked, like, is it possible to come back? And, there were times where, like, he'd have 3 or 4 practice days, and then you wouldn't see him for 2 days, and you wouldn't really know what was going on. And the stock answer was always like, well, he stacked 4 or 5 good days together. And then you'd ask again in a week, and that's what they'd say. So I think that, Kipper, you're right, that questions were being asked, like, is he coming back? And I think the fact that he was back last night and looked pretty solid, at least that's one hurdle cleared for the goaltender.
Murph, we had Rob Brown on before you, and I implied that all things, right now, that maybe Edmonton I thought was a bit better team than Vancouver overall, but that doesn't really account for a fully healthy Vancouver team. Looking at a fully healthy Canucks squad, how far away is it from that being possible? Is there any chance Miller is back anytime soon? What's the update on where he's at?
Miller skated again today, but it was not with a line. So he didn't speak. He may speak tomorrow after the morning skate. I don't think he'll play tomorrow night, but they didn't rule it out. I would think probably Saturday is a more logical, target date for Miller to play. But you've still got Hronek, who's going to be out, for close to 2 months. So, they're not going to get him back anytime soon. And I think I need to preface, like, we have to be critical of the team because they haven't performed well. Nothing's really seemed easy. They're not driving play at 5-on-5. They're finding ways to scrap out results and wins. But it's been a really trying season if you just think about it. Yeah. From the Dakota Joshua testicular cancer in September to the Demko news, he wasn't going to be ready. Forbert had to leave the team because his father passed away. You had Besser missing close to 3 weeks with a concussion, the Miller news, and then right after that, the Hronek injury. So they've dealt with a lot of things this year, and they've still kept their head above water. So I think that's admirable. But I don't think we're going to see a healthy team for, probably 6-7 weeks until Hronek comes back, and they need him back. I will say this, that, Myers and Soucy really struggled at the start of the season. I think they've gotten their footing. Soucy and Myers have both been much, much better last 5-6 games. And that's, a welcome sight for Canucks fans, and definitely a needed one for the coaching staff, because the defense had been a bit of a problem. And when you lose Hronek, you want to play, Hughes 30 minutes a night, which he has been. But, man, he's going to get worn down if he's doing that already. We're not even, a third of the way through the season.
Murph, once we see JT Miller back in the lineup and everything seems to calm down, like, will it just be back to normal again? Will there still be speculation on, what really went down and why? And is he happy here? Are we going to hear trade rumors from here on in? Like, what do you expect once he starts playing again?
I guess it depends on what he addresses. I mean, he's been always a pretty straightforward guy, an honest guy. He doesn't try to hide from things, but this might be something he doesn't want to expand on. I believe that he wants to be here. I believe that his family loves it here. He's got incredible support from the fan base. Like, there was a WWE event here at the time when he was during his leave of absence, and a JT Miller chant broke out in the wrestling event. And they played the other night, and another chant broke out in the night, JT Miller, during the game, that he's not playing. And I think that there's a good connection. I think he really does like the city. But, if he doesn't want to expand on why the leave happened, aside from wanting to get healthy, then I guess we're always going to have to wonder. We'll have to respect his decision. But I don't think the trade questions in my mind are not legitimate. I don't think he's looking to go somewhere else, and I really don't think the Canucks are looking to move him somewhere else.
Murph, there's no Canucks game tonight. Why are you dressed so nice?
Well, because I thought JT Miller was going to speak today. So I wore a tie to the rink, and then he wasn't going to speak. So
well, you look great.
Back. I didn't want to.
Any explanation why, if you were expecting him to speak?
Well, because he skated yesterday. He skated this a third day in a row, and we thought maybe he'd be on a line and maybe it looked like he was going to play tomorrow. He wasn't, so he's still not in roster. So I guess once he's going to be on the roster and he's skating, then they'll make him available. So I would say if it doesn't happen tomorrow, I'm not sure what the schedule is if they skate on Friday. But if it doesn't happen tomorrow, I would be very, very confident it happens Friday or Saturday, depending on the team skates.
Excellent feedback, my friend. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate your time, Murph.
Really good, Murph. Thanks a lot.
Okay, boys. Have a good one.
You too.
It's Dan Murphy, host of Hockey Night in Canada.
Man. Interesting team, man. To his point, they have been through it. God, it's a couple months into the year here.
Yeah.
They have had a year's worth of drama.
So you mentioned Quinn Hughes there.
Mm-hmm.
Can I read you amazing Quinn Hughes stats from last night?
Of course.
Dmitry Filipovich, hosts the PDO cast. Good Twitter follow. Canucks with Quinn Hughes on the ice last night. 29, 49 minutes. 49 shot attempts. 21 shots on goal. 6 high danger chances, 3 goals. Canucks without Quinn Hughes on the ice. 31 minutes, 51 seconds. 9 shot attempts. 4 shots on goal. 2 high danger chances, 0 goals.
Oh. He is the biggest factor in the play when he's on the ice for that team. They are a different team with him out there.
He's a breathtaking hockey player.
He is unbelievable.
And it's just, you don't see him, and then all of a sudden he's got the puck, and it's like, oh my God, it's on the net. Like, you don't see him, then he has the puck for a full shift and a half. It's unbelievable.
It's like trying to contain a Jack Russell Terrier.
He's everywhere.
Guys like that, and there's a few. Makar for sure. Adam Fox kind of was that guy, but he's fallen off a little bit.
For me,
but
yeah.
Hockey's never looked kind of like basketball more, where it's one point guard.
The lateral movement's
who
crazy.
Just controls the game, east, west, north, south. I get the ball, I move it fast. Oh, I get the ball, I'll slow it down.
Yeah.
That's what Hughes and a few of them can do now.
Marner does that for the forward.
For sure he does.
Yeah.
And he makes the opponents react to him where they have to play at his speed.
Yeah. Pace of play. They dictate the whole game when they're on the ice. It is phenomenal. McDavid, just a few.
McDavid's the only one who does it. Well, him and McKinnon do it at a high speed. They say, we're going to play at this tempo. And everyone's like, we can't.
He made everybody look so stupid on that goal for the Lightning.
I just skate down the middle.
I'm just going to skate right through here at top speed. Yeah. And they're like, oh, we can't touch you.
I would say that's the patented McDavid finish. Yeah. The little quick clack to the low blocker chip.
Yeah. I mentioned to you guys on Sportsnet CA, I got a list. Do you want to kind of pick up where we kind of left off?
Where we were being mean,
so
disagreeing with
one of the notes that I have on Sam Bennett is the fact that they aren't close. They
aren't close.
Not even close to a contract. I do believe the last I've heard, and always things can change, right? Is that they didn't even want to pay him what Carter Verhaeghe's getting paid.
Oh, get out of here.
I'm telling you.
What did Carter Verhaeghe get kept?
I believe it was 7 or 7-1.
Yeah. Cap. He got, where is it there? Yeah, 7 even. 7 even.
Okay, 7.
Yeah, so, that's offensive. But I mean, isn't that how negotiating works? You say something silly, they say something silly, and then you say,
I don't know.
Let's get less silly as the deadline approaches.
Yeah. If that's the game that you're playing, then what's the point?
I agree. I am all about the point you're making. Why are we both doing this? What is this a good number for you? Let's do that number. I think with the Panthers, the Leafs have their core four that cost a lot of money. If you add Bennett at, let's say it's $8 million or something in that range, you're looking at 10 to Barkov, 9.5 to Tkachuk, Reinhart for 8.6. Lundell's 5 for a lot of years. Verhaeghe 7 for a lot of years. If now he's 8 for a lot of years or whatever the number is, I mean, that is, you need minimum guys for your bottom 6 from then on, and that's tough.
Ekblad, what are you going to do with him?
Yeah, he's last year before UFA making 7.5.
He's going to pay him the same
pay cut. Yeah,
you're going to pay him the same. Maybe he wants a raise.
Who would you rather have on your team, Bennett or Ekblad?
The only problem is you don't have any.
You need a defenseman.
Yeah.
I mean, a defenseman, forget about Bennett or Ekblad. A defenseman is more important.
You just don't have anyone else. But
a forward still might be easier to replace than that type of defenseman.
But so he may leave. I think that's what you're talking about. He's going to leave, but like he's not going to get traded midseason.
Yeah. I totally get where it's all shaping out, but it's like they just won the Stanley Cup. He is, to me, one of 3 players who defines their identity.
Yeah. You didn't finish my role play situation. Then we got to Brownie.
Right.
Remember, I'm Zito, you're Kachuk. Sir, we traded Sam Bennett. Then what? What does Matthew say?
Yeah.
Cool. Who'd you get? Cool.
No, this is Sam Bennett wouldn't be for 2 firsts and a second. Sam Bennett would be for someone that can come back and still help us win.
Yeah.
That would be the stipulation of a sign and trade.
Who's the D-man? That makes sense, right? Does it not make sense for a D to come back?
Yeah, I think it would.
Although in your article you mentioned Mason Marchment.
Maybe a Mason Marchment if he goes to Dallas.
Dallas adding Bennett would change things.
Yeah, I would love it.
Yeah.
Have fun in the other conference.
Rob Brown mentioned Cam Fowler to Edmonton on our recent segment here, and I like the look of him Monday against Montreal.
You think he still has something to offer?
We'll see him tomorrow night on our telecast to Leafs in Anaheim. But
very much looking forward to that.
I think there'll be a few teams pitching for this guy.
I got to tell you, this trade list that Kip wrote is loaded with Canadian team players. You got Rasmus Anderson, Nazem Kadri, Brock Besser. By the way, Kip is not saying they're getting traded. He's saying these are intriguing names that if things don't go
for Vancouver fans,
a certain way,
Brock Besser, and I mentioned in the article, is looking for north of $8 million over 8 years. That's a significant contract to offer him. If Vancouver is not in a position to make that commitment, are you in the same boat as Florida? You got to rent them?
I think there's a much different conversation, and Vancouver fans could yell at me, but I think trading Besser as the Canucks for a D-man to help is a much different conversation than trading Sam Bennett. Like, I think the Canucks can be similar without him, but without Bennett, the Panthers aren't the Panthers.
A lot of talk the feedback I got off of my article on social media was they like Dobson in the island for
Besser for Dobson.
Yeah.
Who does?
As an Islanders guy.
Canuck fans.
Beat it.
It's not happening.
Beat it.
I bet they like that.
You're not trading
25?
a winger for a top 2D.
Although I will say Lou Lamoriello did trade Devin Taves for 2 second rounders, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he any good?
Oh my God.
Maybe he'll be good enough one day to represent Team Canada.
Yeah, on the first pair.
Watching that Colorado team last night, boy, they hung one on old Dubas's pens.
Yeah, they're back.
I think they showed some big cojones there, changing 2 goalies in a week.
They're not messing around, man.
Yeah, 5 points each for McKinnon and Rantanen last night.
Woo, buddy.
And there's another one. Maybe they'll trade Rantanen mid-season too.
What'd you think of my Thomas Plekanec turtleneck today?
It's a Steve Jobs. I was hoping you'd take the coat off and go full Apple Watch on us.
I rarely like to blow smoke up your behind, but you look like $1 million today, buddy. You look really good.
I got date night with the wife, and
I love that.
I got a Mercedes-Benz event tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So listen, if you guys are looking for late-minute presents for your wives, I can get you a really good deal on it.
If you said AI create someone who looks like they drive a Mercedes, this is what it would create.
Boys, I can get a good deal for you.
Oh, yeah,
Just let me know.
$3.99?
Nice cars.
Enjoy your night, everybody.